plaintiff, Angela Singleton, says her son was killed in an accidental shooting back in 2016. And after he passed, the defendant claimed he was her daughter's father. Angela claims she had never heard of the defendant and is desperate to find out if she has a granddaughter. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test. Defendant Jordania Perry admits that she had a one-night stand with Angela's son. And although she was involved with someone else at the time, she knows Angela's son is her child's father. Therefore, Jordania agreed to take the DNA test.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
You're here today to have a DNA test, so go ahead, give me the background.
My son Kelly passed away June 6th of 2016 due to an accidental shooting.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. My son was the third of my 6 children. When he passed away, shortly after his passing, my nephew was telling me that Miss Perry was coming forward, and she was saying that she had a daughter with my son. I had never heard anything about her or the baby. I know my son has 2 sons that I'm very close with. So when my son passed, it destroyed my life. I lost everything, my job, my house, my car.
How old was he?
24. And I'm just at the point now where I'm trying to find my way with this new life that I have. But if she's his baby, I want to know. I need to know. There's been several other young ladies that have come forward and said the same thing, that they had babies with my son.
How many?
4. And every time I see these babies, I see something. And I see his eyes, I see his smile, and I've been thinking that these are his kids. And then it's just been things that have been coming out. They've done DNA tests with other people, and they're not my son's children.
None of the 4 were determined to be his child?
No.
Why do you think these ladies are doing this?
I don't know. My son was very popular, and
did he have a lot of money or something? Did he leave?
Somewhat. He didn't leave anything.
Insurance policy?
No. The people that were with him when he was shot, they robbed him, after.
Ma'am, what do you want to tell me?
I'll just start from the beginning on how I met Kelly. Mm-hmm. It all started in 2014. I was out and about, and he's a rapper. He was selling some CDs, and his number and his name was on the back of the CD, and he said, if you basically are interested, let me know what you think about the track. And I called him, and I said, okay. And one night, I hit him up, and I said, okay, let's hang out one night. And then one thing led to another, and that's how Lamaya came. And then somewhere up the line.
How long did you all date?
We wasn't dating. It was a one-night stand.
Okay.
And I was already in a relationship with somebody, but we wasn't.
Okay. So did he ever acknowledge paternity?
Yes, but I preferred not to get a DNA test because I already knew he was the dad.
Because what?
Because I already knew he was the dad, so I decided not to get a DNA test.
But weren't you dating someone else?
Yes. I was already messing with him at the time while being in a relationship, and
That's what I'm saying. If you were dealing with 2 guys, how were you able to determine it was him?
We wasn't intimate or nothing like that.
You weren't intimate?
No, we wasn't like intimate.
Did you have sex?
No, not with that one, just him.
Okay. Whew.
No, not with that one.
That was an easy answer there. All right. And that was 2014.
Yes.
And what has been discussed since then regarding fatherhood?
Yes, he asked me the first time, and I said no. I didn't,
You said no? Why?
I felt like there was no need to take the test because right then and there I already knew.
Did he ever admit that he was the father?
No, he denied her when I told him.
Okay, so for 2 years, the father was denying. Yes or no?
Yes, he was denying her.
He offered
Yes.
to take a paternity test. Yes or no?
Yes.
And you refused.
Yes.
This man offers to take a paternity test. And you say, nope, I'm not going to assist in proving this. That's what you're saying. I'm not going to assist in proving who the father of my child is. Go ahead, ma'am.
This is my first time ever hearing that. From what I understood, Kelly knew that she had the baby and they had discussions. She never said that she denied him, the DNA test. My son has 2 boys. This is a picture of his oldest son. My son is a very good father to his kids. I don't understand, why would she deny him that he wanted a little girl? Why would you deny him the opportunity?
To be a part of the child's life.
And now he's gone, he'll never know that he had a daughter?
Right. He had a daughter right there for 2 years. He got so many men who run from that responsibility. Here this man comes and says, I want to take this paternity test to establish paternity, and you refuse to allow him to do so. So he dies without the opportunity to spend time with who you believed was his child, but because you wouldn't allow him to establish paternity, he had no reason to think so. If a woman told me, no, I'm not going to take no paternity, I said, oh, you lying then. Either you were playing games or you're lying. And the game you play is with your 2-year-old daughter, who, if she is his daughter, you wiped away her opportunity to meet her dad and to spend time with her dad. Wiped it away. Child gonna look at this case sometime in the future. Wow. My mom did that. Wish I'd have been able to say my daddy held me as a baby. Wish I'd have been able to say my daddy used to come over and see me. Here's pictures of me and my dad when I was 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. Now she has 0 pictures of her being with her dad, if he is the father. We don't know yet. And I'm going to stop talking so hurtful about it, because I hoped you had some feelings for him too. And now that he's dead, I don't want to inflame any grief or any sorrow. So we'll get the test and we'll know the probability that the child is your grandchild and is the child of your son. Folks play games and this is what happens. I have a grandchild, Nora. And one of the things I've been able to take pride in is I take a picture with her every couple of weeks. I even put it on the internet. Some folks see on Judge Mathis' Facebook. And one of the things I say to myself, I say, well, if anything happens to me tomorrow or the next day or the next day, for the rest of her life, when she hears about her granddad was Judge Mathis, either he was a big deal or they may say he's a scoundrel. Your granddad was a scoundrel. Judge Mathis was a scoundrel and that was your granddad, or Judge Mathis was a whatever and he was your granddad. She's able to say, let me show you a picture of me and my scandalous granddad. So, that being said, what you just heard benefits her more than me, because something happened to me. I'm in heaven trying to see how she's reacting. Yes, heaven. I'm looking down. I'm looking down, seeing how her life is going. So we're both happy, but she's happier because she has that to show other people. And so that's who you've done a disservice to, ma'am, if this child is her grandchild. And the results indicate that there is a 87.5% chance that you've done a grave injustice to your child by not allowing her to see her father. Not 100%, but beyond a reasonable doubt. Perhaps you can give the grandchild some fond memories if she's nice enough to allow the grandchild in your life, because that isn't required by law. And I hope you allow this child to have a relationship at least with grandma, and grandma could tell the child about her father. God bless you both. Good luck to you.
I'm so happy the way that it turned out. She's got brothers and sisters and aunties and so much family. So I'm happy. I'm happy to finally know. Come here, Maya. Yeah. Hi, Mathis. Hi.
She looks just like her grandma. For her to get to know her grandma a little bit more and be a part of the family.
Oh, she's definitely, this is my little princess. She's gonna definitely know the family and know that she's loved and know her daddy. I have a necklace for her with his ashes in it, like the rest of his kids.
Plaintiff Heather Vidrine believes before her brother was murdered, he had an affair with the defendant's mother, and he could be the defendant's father. Heather is desperate to find out if the defendant is her niece, so she petitioned the court for a DNA test. Defendant Bobby Potter says she just found out about her alleged father when Heather reached out to her on social media last year, and she was shocked because she believed another man was her father. So Bobby is eager to find out the truth today.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
And you ladies are seeking a DNA test, which you've taken, to determine whether you all are blood related. And so we're going to start with you, ma'am.
I petitioned the court because I believe Bobby is my niece via my deceased brother. Her mother and my mother used to be very good friends before Bobby was even born. Her mother was actually a friend of mine as well. I'd like to say that. My mom was about 20 years older than Donna's mom and would take her in when, you know, she'd get in a fight with her boyfriend, they'd drink and she'd leave him and she'd come stay with us. And my mom would try to help her get back on her feet and leave him. And she'd eventually go back to him, blah, blah, blah. But one of the times she was staying with us, she had sex with one of my brothers, actually took his virginity. He would have been about 15 or 16 at the time. She would have been about 21 or 22. He ended up leaving, going into the military. They had a big falling out about it. They ended up becoming friends again. We moved into the same area, and my other brother, James, and I would both go over there and hang out at Donna's house. It was before Bobby Jean was born, and they'd let us smoke pot and we'd drink or whatever. And when I was about 15, my brother James, just out of the blue, he said, "Hey, little sister, I think I have a kid." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, it's with an older Mexican lady and she's married." And I was 15. I didn't think much about it. I told him, "You're going to get shot. You need to quit messing with that." Didn't think much about it. Well, a few years later, he died. And honestly, I've been trying to find out.
How old was he when he died?
He was 19, almost 20.
How did he die?
In a suspicious house fire. He was murdered, sir.
So sorry to hear that. And what type of conversations have you had with anyone in her family or in the community that gave you the impression or kind of reinforced your thoughts?
I found a picture that you can see on page 2 there of my brother holding Bobby Jean when she was a baby, and it just slammed me like a ton of bricks. I was like, that looks like a proud papa holding a baby, not like this is my mom's friend's kid. And it just hit me then. And that was about 2 years ago. And I started looking on Facebook and trying to find them. I actually found Donna before she passed away last year. Spoke with her and she denied it.
Okay.
But she didn't say I never had sex with James. She and didn't say that she thought it was wrong or anything. Her response was that she wished she could leave a legacy like that.
Young lady, why don't you give me some background on this issue?
I honestly had first heard about it back in February of last year when Heather contacted me through Facebook. She found me on Facebook. And we had spoken briefly, and then the next time she had called me is when she told me, she was like, I'm going to be blunt about it. I think you're James's daughter.
Yeah, what pretense did she reach out to you on Facebook? Just a stranger wanting to say hi, or did you already know each other?
Her message was, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I'm Jean's daughter. Your mom took care of my mother before she passed away.
Okay. All right. And your discussions were kind of surrounding just general conversation the first time.
Yeah.
And how much later did she tell you she's going to be honest and blunt and she thinks you might be her niece?
It was probably about a week or so later.
Okay. How did she say it? That's just like we said, huh? I'm going to be blunt and honest.
Yeah.
And what was your response?
I was like, well, kind of at a loss for words. Like, I don't really know what to say here.
Wow. Because you grew up in your household with whom you knew to be your father, correct?
Well, I didn't grow up with him. Him and who I believe to be my biological father, him and my mother had separated when I was 3 years old. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't see him again until I was 10. And that was the last time that I've seen him.
How do you feel about it?
I don't know. Like I had told her, and I'd rather, and I know it sounds crass, but I'd rather have a father who's passed than one that abandoned me.
Hmm. When is the last you heard of the father that's still alive, or the presumed father?
The last I had heard about him was when I was 18, and he had gone back to my hometown and had left a phone number with my godparents. And I never was able to receive that number.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, your mom, what has she ever told you about this?
I had questioned my paternity when I was younger.
Why?
For the simple fact that my presumed biological father is an extremely dark Hispanic man. And clearly I am not. And I know that she was of mixed race as well. She was half white, half Hispanic as well. But I should have been darker, especially the way the rest of my family was. And so I had asked her, I was like, is he truly my father, or were you messing around? And she was like, no, I could tell you exactly the day I got pregnant. I know he's your father. Like, there's no doubt about it.
And is that the last time you questioned it when you was a little girl? That's the last time you said something?
I had questioned it a few more times throughout the years. And of course, she just always denied it, said that there was no possibility that it could have been anybody else.
And I guess I can see you questioning it, particularly if he had abandoned you.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to
definitely.
question it then. You don't feel that you all have much resemblance and he abandoned you. Yeah, you might have been, if nothing else, wishful thinking. It may or may not be the case, but you might have been, I hope this deadbeat is my daddy. I don't mean to call it this deadbeat, but if you don't have a problem talking about him, neither do I. So, how about you all, your other relatives, ma'am? Any discussions? What have they said?
They think I'm crazy.
Because they don't think
I was the only one that James ever told he thought he had a kid, and it's been 30-something years. They're like, why the hell are you bringing this up now? But I had brain cancer, and I had a near-death experience. And you might think I'm crazy, but it has me seeing stuff different and more clear. And I think I'm right.
Okay. Wow. All right. Anything else? Any other comments or questions before I?
The only other comment I have, Your Honor, is that my mother was a very big fan of yours.
Oh, is that right? God bless her. Oh.
I would like to say thank you too as well, Judge Mathis. I appreciate your help in this case.
Thank you.
And I've already told Bobby that I'd love to be a part of her life. Her mother did a lot to help me. When I got pregnant, my mom kicked me out. Her mother took me in. Her mother took care of my mother when she was dying of cancer. And I want to be a part of her life either way.
Yeah. Always know that you all, whatever the result is, you can maintain whatever relationship you want. Aunt, niece, whatever the case might be. In my opinion, relations is not based on blood. So it's all
You
about.
saying she's not blood?
Yeah, she's not.
All right.
But the attachment should be just as strong. I have a cousin, and I grew up thinking he was kind of like a first cousin, but I later learned he was like a third cousin. But his mom helped me when my mother was passing of cancer, and I was just me and my mom. And his mother moved in for the last 2 months because I had just started college. I feel gratitude to him, even though he's not first cousin like I thought. But that didn't affect the relationship at all, one bit. What did continue to bind us was the good deed his mother did for mine, and the fact that we grew up together and around each other also helped. But it didn't affect the relationship. That's my point. The only difference, I hope you don't do her like he does me. He has never let me forget. Not that part. He doesn't say anything about that part, about his mom taking care of mine. He has never said that. But he talks about how he helped me. You wouldn't be nothing if it wasn't for me.
He even tells me.
That's right. That's right. He tells Doyle, you wouldn't be nothing if I didn't intervene in Greg's life when he was 18.
That's right.
And one of them, my first cousins, was president of a university at that time and wouldn't let me in. I don't blame him. I was a straight up thug, so you can't rely just because I've been out of jail for 7 months. And no, I probably wouldn't have done it either if I was president of a university. You'll come up here and ruin my presidency. So, Mr. President, your nephew or your first cousin is ripping everything up out here. You're going to have to leave. So he might have did right. However, my point is, blood doesn't necessarily mean stronger attachment. All right? God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Bobby. No, I love you anyway, Bobby. Sorry.
Love you
I'm
too.
crazy.
Plaintiff Kendra Madlock believes the defendant is her biological father, but she knows there is a possibility that he is not. So she petitioned the court for a paternity test to find out the truth. Defendant Carl Bell admits that he dated Kendra's mom, and he always accepted Kendra as his own, even though she may not be his biological daughter. Carl is eager to put this mystery to rest.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
And ma'am, you are asking for a DNA test because we're the most reliable that you can get. And that is to determine the paternity between you and your dad. And so I'll let you all begin to tell me, and then we'll answer the question of bloodline, which may not be as important as fatherhood. So let me hear from you.
Mr. Bill has been around my life for a long time, and the reason why is because I have an older sister who I know for a fact that that's his daughter. So with that being said, I would be at like family functions, and Mr. Bill, you know, I would say like call him dad. He never had a problem calling me like his daughter back or anything like that. The other thing about Mr. Bill, me and Mr. Bill share like similar characteristics, mannerisms. Mr. Bill kind of talks out of like one side of his mouth, like his right side, and I've been told, or people have caught me doing the same thing that he does as well. Mr. Bill also has like amazing like jet black wavy hair, and when I cut my hair down and we stand side by side, we almost look alike. My mom did tell me there's another guy that possibly could have been my dad, but he passed away in 2019. He was in and out of jail, so I really didn't have a connection with him the way I have with Mr. Bill. Like I say, I've been around Mr. Bill for years, and like I say, family.
How old were you? How old when you began knowing Mr. Bill or being around in his company?
I would probably have to say grade school, Your Honor. So maybe like 8 or 9.
How often would you see him, you think?
A lot.
Once a month?
More than like once a month, because he was around, like when I was younger, he was around a lot more. So like that's why I say like family functions, his family, like birthdays, anything, like me, my mom, and my sister are always invited. And going around those family functions, like I said, I always felt like one of them. Like,
well, what did your mother say? What did your mother say?
My mom is like, no, she feels as though it's the other young man. But me and Mr. Bill have had conversations, and with those conversations, you know, it kind of keeps me lingering, like, is it Mr. Bill? Could it have been this other gentleman?
What type of conversations?
One conversation, for instance, my sister, they just recently moved, and he was just like, before I went to Minnesota, I went on a trip. And before my sister and them left, they threw like a little barbecue, like going away party. And Mr. Bill, you know, kind of confided in me and told me that him and the other guy were in jail together. And he overheard the other gentleman like bringing up like my mom and my siblings. And he kind of went to that other guy and kind of like text him like, no, you can't be talking about such and such. So, and like talking to Mr. Bill is kind of like a conflict of time around that.
Does he acknowledge your sister as his daughter?
Yes, all the time.
Okay, and he's come over to the house to see your sister regularly, or is that where you see him most of the time?
In the beginning, him and my mom would hang out, and I kind of would be like that little third wheel as a kid. So, like, that was the time I got to spend with him. And then, like I said, other family events when he would be around as well. But the bond between him and my sister, like, to me, I felt like they always had, like, that father and daughter bond.
And you think that They withheld this information from you that you might be their daughter?
I don't think my mom would withhold information, and I don't think Mr. Bell is a liar either.
But you haven't had a blood test to determine one way or the other, and or DNA tests, and so that's where you don't want to have to rely on anybody's opinion. You can get it scientifically. That's what we're doing. All right, let me hear from you, sir. Mr. Bell?
I want to start off, Kendra moms, we went to high school together. We dated first. Then we had a relationship. And prior doing that relationship, she conceived my first daughter, Carla. Okay, our relationship didn't last that long. Well, I made a move to really actually try to be on someone's team. You know, I was playing sports a lot. So, you know, I come back home when I couldn't achieve that, couldn't complete it, I should say, got cut. So I always see my kids. I love my kids. They are my pride and joy. So I goes back, see my oldest daughter, Carla, and her mom's had a little baby in her arms. So I asked Kendra moms, who baby is that? So she didn't really wanted to give me no answer to things. But once again, Kendra moms is very quiet. You know, she kind of like stick to herself. She works, you know, she's outgoing, but, you know, she don't speak that much. You know, she don't like confusion. You know, she don't like that. You know, she despises it. So for me not to constantly questioning her and asking her, so, you know, I just let it be. So we can have a nice time.
I think it's also,
good. So when I left, you know, I went out of town. I came back like about a year and a half, probably close to 2 years. So I come back and I go visit, you know, and here it is, a little girl come running out the room, hollering daddy. So, you know, with my reaction, you know, because she had her arms open running, I just grabbed her, picked it up and squeezed her. And I'm looking at it. I'm really looking at it. And all my kids, they got some traits in me. You know, like she said, our hairstyle, our look, our eyes, our nose, you know, and she played sports too, just like I did. My oldest daughter, all my kids. So, you know, I really, truly embraced her like she was my own. I didn't question her moms anymore. You know, I took her in, you know, as she's my own.
So you saying her mother's never said yes or no?
No, she didn't. You know, her moms don't like confusion. Okay, this is what I'm getting an understanding from her why she didn't really tell me the truth. But what made me skeptical when I was incarcerated, I was in at breakfast and I'm sitting at the table and I'm overhearing a conversation with some guys. One guy in particular, when he mentioned my oldest daughter name, I said, wait a minute, I got a daughter named Carla Matlock. But I didn't like the way that he said a few words about my daughter. So that what made me come out and say, who are you talking about? What Matlock? What area do she live in? And this and that. So he broke it down to me and I like, that's my daughter. Okay, you know, I might have a daughter there. I said, well, I don't know anything about that, but you are talking about my daughter. I really wanted to know how you know her, you know, so we had the opportunity to get by ourselves. We went out to the yard and he kind of like broke it down to me and things like that. And, you know, by me, I'm not believing nobody, you know, nobody in there.
How long were you in prison?
Huh?
How long were you in prison?
I was just 6 months.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Right.
Because you should have known better. That's all they do is make up stories to go up and in and out of the yard and talk about. The most fantastic stories you ever heard. Am I right or wrong?
You right.
Cat been in there, he in there for selling a dime bag of weed, and you can't tell him he ain't in there for 500 pounds.
Okay.
Come on now, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna allow that to be relevant to this discussion. Anything you heard from a cold, from a jelly, ain't no telling where he got that from. You know, he might have looked that up on a computer, man. Come on, y'all don't have nothing else to do in prison but think of fantastic stories. And amuse each other. This man was trying to amuse you.
Okay, try to get me caught up in there. I'm ready to find out seriously.
He probably told the whole rock that story about you. He said, yeah, I told my man. He believed I hit him. I believe I got him. Come on, man. And then now they looking at you right now. Told you I got him. He in front of Judge Mathis. I got him telling that to the judge. I'm not going. That is irrelevant, young lady. Whatever this prison cat talked about.
And also, Judge, I want my oldest daughter and my baby girl right there to stop batting each other. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got our grandkids. Man, I'll be around them more with my grandkids. Man, they just don't know. That's my pride and joy. But I don't like them, saying them few things around them because you're gonna have them thinking. So, when they came to me, I want to get this resolved, because they old now, and they really need to know. And whatever the outcome may be, that's still my baby girl. Like I said, I hold her in my arms. She got that smile, and I love her. I truly do.
And now, young lady, you and your sister, you don't get along?
We do. I'm not gonna lie to you, Judge. It took a while.
Why?
Because my sister is mean. Like, my sister was mean when I was younger. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I looked up to my older sister. Like he said, sports. I come from a really sports orientated family and background. So like my sister played basketball. I wanted to play basketball. My aunt played softball and volleyball. I wanted to play softball and volleyball. Everything my sister did, I wanted to do. Then it got to a point, one day my sister kind of snapped at me. I don't know for what reason. I guess she got tired of me calling, she told me, that's my dad. Quit calling my dad your dad. Mm-hmm. And it kind of, broke me. I won't lie to you, Judge. It did. It broke my little kid spirit. So it's if I got my sister saying, oh, quit calling her dad, my dad, then who do I belong to? It's like you're stuck in limbo. You would say you're second guessing who you are. Where do you really come from?
How old was your sister when she said that?
My sister probably was in high school.
Yeah, in high school, I don't know. I don't know, but it just seems as if children should know the truth at a certain age where they can understand it so that they don't hurt each other over the misunderstanding. But that's water under the bridge, so I'm saying it for others to benefit from, not to be critical of your mom, but to say it so that others, a cautionary tale, you don't want the children to be confused. So as early as they can understand it. I know some things you all don't want to tell children because they can't quite get their arms around it, and they'll be confused and they might say stuff that hurts each other's feelings because they don't know what they've been told, or they just don't know. But once they are of age and you know your child, you know what your child can understand, I think you should tell them, because at that point it makes life better for everyone. And we don't wait. How old are you, young lady? 32, I'm told?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so there it is. The good news is that whatever the case might be, that you all are willing to continue a father-daughter relationship. And that's what is most important. Fatherhood is not based on bloodline. In this case, If he's not your dad, it worked out for you. And so all is well, even though he is not your blood dad, but we're not gonna worry about the donor. We're gonna worry about the father. And that's who he is. He's still your father. That's a prime example of fatherhood being based on relationship, not being based on bloodline. You can never see. I've only saw my father for 2 weeks my entire life. And so my father, I didn't have a father. Father wasn't based on bloodline. It was based on relationship. Didn't have a relationship with him, so I didn't have a father. Never had a relationship with him before he died, so I never had a father. So in that sense, that's the way you all should regard that. Good luck to you both.
You're still my baby girl.
That's right.
I love you too, baby.
I love you, baby. I'll see you soon.
Too. I will too, no matter what. I know you my daddy. I love you, sir.
I love you, baby. You'll always be my baby girl. That's right.
Plaintiff Audrey Thompson says she and the defendant became friends with benefits after meeting online. And a year into their relationship, Audrey became pregnant. Audrey claims when she told the defendant, he requested a DNA test, but then he kept dodging the test. So she petitioned the court for one today. Defendant Antoine Besson says when Audrey said she was pregnant, he was shocked because she told him she couldn't get pregnant. Antoine insists Audrey is the one who's been avoiding the DNA test, so he is eager to find out the results today. He's countersuing Audrey for harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Give me some background.
Antoine and I met a couple years ago through an online dating site. We were
15, 16?
2015, I believe. And we had an adult situation. We were friends with benefits. Neither of us anticipated a pregnancy or wanted one for that matter at the time. So about a year into knowing one another, I became pregnant. And I informed Antoine, and like myself, he was very taken aback by the situation. During the pregnancy, he did express that he would.
Why do you think he was taken aback?
Well, because we both are nearly 40, and I didn't think I could medically have children. And so we
At
didn't.
age 40?
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Thank you. My doctor, I have.
Your doctor told you you're 40 years old, so.
Well, no, not because of my age exclusively. I have PCOS, one fallopian tube. I have a medical condition.
You got another health challenge. Got it now.
So during the pregnancy, though, he expressed that he would like a DNA test when the baby was born, which I agree with, wholeheartedly, because our situation didn't warrant for him to believe that the child would be his necessarily, because we weren't in a relationship. We lived in different states. We just seen each other for our adult activities, and that was it.
Hey, for a year, though.
Yeah, but twice during that year. So it wasn't, a regular thing. Also, like a month before, the actual conception, which, I knew afterwards, but there was another man who could have been Mason's father, our son's father, which I now know isn't because I already had him DNA tested. So now I know the conception was in fact.
How long ago? This was a couple of years ago.
Our son is almost 18 months old.
Yeah, and you're talking about how adults you are. Out here having sex, friends with benefits, and no protection?
Yeah, it was foolish. It was absolutely foolish, and I definitely learned a lesson.
And it wasn't just him. That's my point.
No, it was both of us. We're both adults. We both
and
knew.
The other person, too. The other man.
No, the other person, he and I went and got tested together before we were ever intimate.
I'm referring, you went to get tested and you were concerned, and so was he, because you had unprotected sex like you did with him around the same time frame. You don't understand the concept, huh? Of if you don't have protected sex with anyone, there's a likelihood you're going to get pregnant. That likelihood increases when you have an unprotected sex with two different people at the same time. Do you understand what I'm saying now?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So what has he said at this point? Have you asked him to get tested, and what did he say?
Absolutely, yes. I set up one DNA test situation, and Antoine just kind of disappeared after that.
When?
This was when our son was about 6 months old, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recently spent out of my own money, a couple $100
Let her finish.
getting an at-home pregnancy test or a DNA test, for Antoine to come down and take, because we live in different states. And, he said he was going to try to come, then he couldn't come because he didn't have a car.
How recent was that?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I'm surprised y'all even got him here today. And I truly, on behalf of myself and my son, appreciate y'all taking us on. And because, our son is biracial and our son deserves to know all of his family, not just my side. And, and it's unfair to our son if he gets to an age where he's aware of things to know that he has this man saying, well, I don't know if you're my baby. I can't give him culturally and of his identity what his father's family can.
So you don't think that your family can teach him how to be a black man? And
Absolutely.
You are right. But however, you might send, you got that one girl, Rachel something, another in the NAACP. And
Oh, yeah. She said she was black.
Washington. She say black is a state of mind, and she may be on to something there. I don't know. Send him to Rachel.
I'm sorry. And I wanted to submit to you a picture of our son, if I may.
And Rachel, I'm on your side. I don't want you to get the other impression. If your state of mind is that you're African American or you have blood in you as such, come on in. We together.
This is our son who looks all me in the face, all his daddy in the body.
All right, sir. What do you say? Give me your background information.
Like she said, we are met on the dating site, and we connected on the phone, and we connected to the point where we wanted to meet each other. So we met, and like she said, in a year, 2 times in a year. So after the second time that we meet, a week later, she called me like, we got a problem. What problem do we have? She texted me, showed me pictures of a pregnancy test. Whoa! First of all, you said you couldn't get pregnant. Then
said she couldn't.
She couldn't get.
Yeah,
There's no health. I'm like, well, after a week, how do you know that you were pregnant? Like, what have you missed?
It was 5 weeks.
I don't understand here. Wait a minute, hold on. First and foremost, I want a DNA test. And
that's what you asked for?
Yes. Oh, yes. First and foremost, so I want to do
that. And that was in 2015?
Yes.
All right.
So throughout the pregnancy, I addressed to her that I wanted a DNA test, and she understood that. So the plan was, once the baby was born, we had a DNA test at the hospital.
That's not true.
That was
Whatever the plan was, ma'am, it's 2 years later, so he's got 2 years to go. Go ahead.
Okay, that was the original plan. So when she had the baby, she go through her pregnancy. I wouldn't even notify the baby was born until after the baby was born. So I go, whoa, wait a minute. I thought we originally agreed that we would take the DNA test since it was the easier way at the hospital.
Correct.
And she said, well, I didn't want you to come because you wasn't there through the pregnancy financially, and my family was, and I didn't want no commotion at the hospital. Like, what do you mean? This is our kid. We're trying to set the paternity up.
Speed up to the next opportunity to take a paternity test, because it's been 2 years since that time.
Okay, now, after she had the baby, and I said, okay, what's up with the DNA test? So first she told me it's complicated. Oh, you mean it's complicated? Like, I just want a DNA test. So she's been giving me the runaround on the DNA test. She has been giving me the runaround on the DNA test.
All right, and you've requested one how many times since the hospital?
Oh, countless times. At least, I count on one hand 10 times.
Man?
We agreed, I believe I brought it up, that we should get DNA because of our circumstances. The only way DNA could have been done when Mason was born is if somebody would have paid for that.
He said he requested 10 times.
Oh, he probably did.
And you come in here acting like he's a bad guy. He's done something to you. He's been trying to take the test. As you just said, I hope if he's the father, you don't play those money games with him, which happens a lot. Oh, you ain't giving me no money, so you ain't going to see the baby. You wouldn't let him come to the hospital because he wouldn't give you any money.
That's not true.
Just said, yes, it is. Let's see the DNA. And your counterclaim for $3,000 is for what?
Well, due to the whole situation, she posted an ad on me on my whereabouts on Craigslist, Facebook, Group Hub.
All right, so how's that harassment?
She got a picture. She got my pictures.
She was trying to find you.
I was not missing. She been in contact with my mom through the whole thing. I was never missing.
That's not true.
Yeah, she's been in contact. I have evidence right here that you've been in contact.
Why can't she contact you? You said you've reached out to her 10 times.
I have.
Did you give her a number?
She has my number.
Those 10 times.
She has my number. My number has changed.
So what does
December,
she say on Facebook looking for you then if she has your number?
I have no idea.
Ma'am?
Thank you. First, the thing on Facebook, his screenshots will show wasn't me. It was a friend of mine trying to intervene into the situation. Second of all, me and his mother have been in somewhat contact. I sent her recent, pictures and updates on the baby because it's her grandchild.
All right, I'm just dealing with this harassment. Him saying you put.
That is how they contact my mom. This is
what is it that
my friend put a thing without my consent or prior knowledge.
Here's Facebook. 2 pages.
Yeah, sir. This is somebody else.
No, that is a fake. That is a fake account. That's her. That's a fake account. She have done this before.
How can you prove it's her?
No,
because it says another name.
But she have done. Can
you prove she's done it before?
That is wild.
Yeah, have you done this before?
No.
This.
Yeah, she have done this before.
All this dodging, I know you the daddy. All this game playing, I don't even have to open that up. When they come across like you are today, that's daddy. That's a yes. What, ma'am?
I just wanted to say that he's had opportunity to take the DNA. He evades it and
Man,
then
be
says,
quiet. He asked you 10 times. He asked you 10 times.
And he's had 3
want to hear that. Y'all go and work this out because he's the father just like I knew. Have a good day.
I just really hope that now we can co-parent and you'll be in Mason's life and we can move forward.
Now that I know that I'm the father of this kid, this is the first time I'm hearing that about another guy, but it's the first time I'm hearing about another guy. So now that I know that I am the father of this kid, I can be a father to him.
Plaintiff Rachel Avalos says when she was dating the defendant, she admits that she was abusing meth, but she insists she never cheated on him. Rachel claims the defendant does not believe he is the father of her 14-year-old son, who was with Rachel in court. So she petitioned the court for a paternity test to erase his doubts once and for all. Defendant Charlie New says he loves Rachel's son and always will, no matter what the DNA test proves today. Charlie claims he has always been in Rachel's son's life and has even been paying child support, but he does not believe he is the child's biological father.
And, ma'am, you are petitioning the court today for a DNA test.
Yes.
And we're glad to accommodate it. Folks, as I always say, come to us when they want to clarify family matters, and particularly by way of paternity tests, because they are very expensive. So we like to provide that. And also it helps bring families together. So let me hear from you. Give me some background on what we're doing today.
Well, first of all, I understand why he thinks that Sonny is not his.
He thinks that is?
Yes.
How do you know? When did he tell you that?
Every time he's angry, he tells me that.
How many years back?
From the time Sonny was little.
Is this Sonny with us?
Yes, he's...
All right. How old is he? How old are you?
14.
14. And little as in what years?
Like 3 or 4.
Okay, hopefully he's never told him that, has he?
No, he told me.
All right. He gets angry and says that to you?
Yeah.
I mean, people get angry and say things they don't mean, but sometimes they grab things and they just distort it. But they say, okay, I know he is, but let me just say this out of anger because I know this is what is going to tick her off the most because there's something there that can go either way. And I know he's my son, but let me just say this to tick her off in the worst way. You don't think he was doing that?
Well, he's been, sometimes even when he's not angry, sometimes he'll say that Sonny doesn't look like him, that Sonny's got darker skin than him.
Okay.
And I know for a fact that he's the father because I did not sleep with anybody else when I was in a relationship
14 years
with him.
ago? Mm-hmm.
I did hang around bad people and do drugs, though.
What type of drugs?
Meth.
The toughest type of drugs. How long were you on crystal meth?
From the time I was 17 till I was 21.
All right. And how long ago was that? 21.
Well, I'm 36 now.
36 now?
Yeah.
So you've been off 15 years?
Yeah.
Around the time your son was born?
Yeah.
That may also have given him that impression. But why did you all wait 14 years to clarify paternity?
Because I'm tired of hearing it. I don't want to hear it anymore. I want closure.
Okay.
I want my son to know that that's his father, and I want Charlie to know that that's his son.
But how did your son know it was coming up? during you all's arguments. I don't know if you should have shared that with your son, knowing that, that you all saying it in the heat of an argument. All right, so just FYI to families and parents out there, don't share your arguments with your children, because you all are probably just making stuff up on each other. Sir, you give me some background on this.
Yes, I did talk about Sunny a lot when I come pick up Sunny. I told her about Sunny doesn't look like me, and every time I brought Sunny, to my apartment, and a lot of guys, you look Sunny and say like that. Say Sunny not look like me.
They would say that, some of the guys?
And I love Sunny no matter what they say, but I love Sunny very much. It doesn't matter what way he says, I always love him. I have a great relationship with him. I have been paid child support.
So you all haven't been together since when?
Since 2004.
How long?
2004.
Yeah.
So you've been paying child support since 2004?
Yes.
Okay. Voluntarily?
Before it was court ordered, but he started doing it voluntarily, and the child support left him alone after that.
And see, those are all good signs. You never fought against child support. You're doing it voluntarily, and you did say you'll always love him, whatever the outcome is, and be a part of his life, perhaps, because you've been 14 years a part of his life, but that's up to you. I can't tell you one way or the other. You may be resentful of the case if it's not true, but I must say that a lot of people take on that belief that since the child doesn't look like them, that there's question about the paternity. And what most people, or many people, don't realize is that genetics and the looks jump generations. What is your ancestry?
I was born in Vietnam, a civil war. A lot of American soldiers went there.
Okay. So your parents were both Vietnamese?
My father, American soldier.
American soldier.
My mom,
African American?
No, he's Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah. And
do you know whether he ever, or his ancestors ever intermingled? Spanish and African American, or Spanish and Africans? You do know or you don't?
I don't.
The Latino or Spanish father could have certainly, one of his ancestors in the past, intermingled with an African American or someone with a darker complexion. You have many Spanish folks who have, particularly in Latin America and in the islands, who are much darker than you. They're like my complexion. Went over to Cuba, and the majority of the people look like they have my complexion. Go over to some of the islands, many of them have my complexion. And go over to Mexico, many of the people have my complexion. Because the fact is, slavery occurred throughout the world, and meaning folks intermingled with Africans who were over here as a result of slavery, or who were in other Caribbean islands as a result of slavery. And so I don't think you can just tell by one generation of comparison. In fact, I know you can't. Science says you can't. I'm just not, my opinion, that's what science says, that looks and genetics jump generations in many instances. It may be the case for you too.
Well, look at me and look at Sunny. That's
my point. I'm about to get to you. Do you have any African American ancestors that you know of?
There's one black person in my family that I know of.
There you go. Could very well be the case, sir. You're all right. You all need to learn a little more about paternity, genetics, and those who come before us, so that you don't hurt your child's feelings. Let's be clear on that.
Well, either way, he's handsome.
That's right.
Right.
He is. He is. Yeah. All right, young man, you want to say anything? You don't have to. All right, good enough. Let's see. The paternity, and whose name is on the birth certificate?
Charlie's and mine.
Did you throw that in her face regularly, as she says? Question it and say he's not my child?
Not all the time.
All right, well, I'm gonna let you read it.
The defendant?
Yeah.
Okay. Here you go, sir.
What?
You're not my son.
What? Are you serious?
Hand her the papers.
Okay. Pardon me.
And look at the precise analysis.
So he's not the father.
Nope.
I'm sorry. But you're always going to be the father because you've been there for Sonny the whole time.
Of course. Never change my feeling for you.
Okay.
I can take bullet for him, don't worry about it. I promise I keep paying child support and take care of something.
I'm going to keep him with you too. You're his father.
You know, when I hold Sonny born, I promise I protect him.
That's terrible. I'm sorry. I thought you were the father. I didn't know I did anything, but I guess all those drugs made me not know what I was doing.
That's what hurt my feeling.
Well, no matter what, you're his father, and you're on his birth certificate. You are his father. Blood isn't everything.
Why don't you all show a little love? Give each other hugs, at least. Show a little love, sir. Really nice.
I love you.
What's up, Sonny?
He's still your dad. He's still your dad. Go hug him.
Okay, I will wait. I'm not abandoning you, okay? I'll wait, come pick you up. I'll be there for you until I die, okay?
I'm sorry, Sonny. I love you.